I think the very first thing is the customer acquisition model is just completely different, right? So startups are big experiments, and lots of them fail and some of them succeed, but they're just big experimentation engines on business models. And the feedback in a B2C startup can happen rather rapidly, right? It either takes off or it doesn't. And you get almost real-time feedback to tweak your product and to tweak your acquisition strategy or to tweak your technology. There's just lots of opportunity to iterate at a faster pace. And so in B2B, because in enterprise specifically in B2B, the sales cycle for us can be a year, up to a year, even up to 18 months in some cases. And so we have to be very conservative about how we plan for that, absolutely. And the sales process is sometimes unpredictable. Sometimes your deal sponsor at a company will get promoted or move to a different company, or something will happen and your deal will be in danger. And so you sort of have to account for those types of delays too. I think I've said this before, but one major learning that we've had, or maybe it's not major learning, it's common sense, is kind of speak the language of the industry that you're in. I think during buy cycles, customers, large enterprise customers, look for people who understand their business. I mean, that's common sense. And so the more that you can sound like them, the more they feel comfortable that you understand what they feel is their unique problem set. I think the other thing is to assemble the right sort of team for this. So people who know how to sell into big enterprise accounts are a very, very particular type of business development or salesperson, and you need to go and seek those who've been very, very successful doing that before. Yeah, sometimes I wake up and think that maybe healthcare wasn't such a great industry to just sort of step into. It seems like every day I figure out something that I didn't even know I should know, or didn't even know I didn't know, right? And I think we've been fortunate in that we've had a lot of great mentors in the area who have walked us through what the Affordable Care Act means to them, who have really taken us deep, deep, deep inside their businesses and shown us, what makes a difference in their world. And so to the extent that you can learn through your clients or get sponsorship or mentorship from people who have been in the industry for a very, very long time, yet balance that with another set of people who come at it with a unique perspective from other industries is incredibly important. I think with startups, as a founder, you're very committed to the venture, and there are lots of times when you feel like throwing in the towel or quitting out of sheer frustration or fear, or just emotional turmoil. And so you just have to stick for a while, right? And see if you still feel like leaving after you've made that decision, some months after you've made that decision. And for everybody, it's a little bit different, right? Some people leave because they feel like they've finished what they set out to do. Some people leave because, these things are crazy and they want to get off the bus. And some people, find different opportunities to move on, that they follow their love or they follow their passion. The break between Sense Networks and Activity Exchange was a 6-month break where I really did a lot of journal writing and things like that about my previous business, but also toyed around with a lot of different ideas, right? And just let your mind sort of wander. And if you have the luxury to be able to do that, it's just such a marvelous thing. So. You hopefully make really different mistakes. So yes, it's different in that I think you make brand new mistakes if you're smart about it. I think the things that are the same are every startup is this emotional roller coaster, and you can't get away from that, I don't think. But as you go from one to the next, you learn that, this too shall pass, right? And you get better at managing your own psychology. So experience sort of teaches you, yes, things are crazy, but don't freak out. They're always crazy like this. Just wait a little bit and it'll be better. You make a series of calculated bets, right? And the way that you can mitigate some of the risk of those bets are utilizing resources like contractors, right? Who might be more temporary, that you can sort of turn on and off as you need them. And contractors that can hopefully either grow as part of your team if they're great, or you can find new folks if it's not working out. So part of the risk mitigation strategy is trying to create the most variable costs in your model that you can. The second thing is, at some point you do just have to make a bet, right? You do just sort of have to say, we need to hire salespeople in order to sell more. And that comes from doing a little bit, the way that you make that into more of a calculated risk, right, is you go in, as the founders, you talk to as many clients as possible to see whether you're hitting an inflection point in the market or not. Right? And if you go talk to a bunch of people and they want second and third meetings, then maybe hiring a salesperson is a good move. If you go talk to people and they're kind of like, maybe next year, next quarter, or whatever, you're just not there yet. You're not at product market fit yet. The biggest stress in any entrepreneur's life is like having to open the bank account every day and count how many days are left, right? It's kind of a unique stress that I don't think exists anywhere else, right? And then going into the office and looking at the faces of your employees and knowing how many days are left on that in that bank account, right? That's probably the biggest stress. I think the second biggest stress is sort of, you've made commitments and promises to clients, you have products out there in the market, and so the biggest stress is, making those things great, right? And maybe that's a stress to some people and maybe it's a joy to others, but it can feel like both to me. I always pause between each venture and devote as much time as possible to reflecting on what happened. Right? Reflecting on the good things, reflecting on the bad things, reflecting on the combinations of things that I thought made something a success or a failure. And that reflection puts you in a state of mind to make you much better for the next time around. And so sometimes people dive into one thing or the next and the next and the next. Entrepreneurs are inherently impatient. But this period of honest and true reflection is just, don't overlook its value.